Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining me today on Verlita's Everything in Between podcast. I am your host, Verlita Odom. I hope all has been well with each of you since the last time we were together. On today's podcast episode, I am going to be discussing my time as a hospital social worker. Why do I think that it's important? Because as we go along, you will learn how important the social worker is in a hospital setting, in a nursing home setting, for hospice. Many times we are the go-to person when it comes to the go-between between the doctors, the nurses, resources in the community. So, and a lot of the information people don't know, you don't know until, you're in that moment and you wonder, how do I navigate this? Well, the social worker is a great resource in any setting. So, because I've spent the last nearly 10 years working in medical, as a medical social worker, I am going to, over the next few episodes, discuss each of those areas, from hospital social worker to nursing home social work, and also hospice. Because even if you've never had the experience of having a loved one in a hospital, a nursing home, or hospice, unfortunately, we're all going to be at that point at some point in life. You may not need all three, but I can almost guarantee one of these areas is something you're going to have to face in the future. So whether you need it now or not, this will be here and you can always refer back to it. I hope that you learn a lot from today's episode, and I will see you after the break. I first began working in a hospital setting right after I received my master's degree, and that was in 2012. I went to work for a hospital, and a social worker's role primarily in a hospital setting is discharge planning. So you have people coming in and out, obviously. Some stays are longer than others. There are people who come in and they're discharged the same day. Other people who have surgeries and rehab there in the hospital, and so they're there for weeks at a time. Regardless of how long the length of stay is, the social worker's role will be to help complete advanced directives, such as a do not resuscitate or medical power of attorney, and to help set up services for the patient once they discharge from the hospital. And what that means is the doctor ordering home health, or perhaps the patient was already receiving home health before they came into the hospital. So the social worker is going to contact the home health agency and get those services, let them know the patient is going to be discharging home, and try to get them to resume those services upon the patient's return home. The social worker will also order any equipment, what we call DME, durable medical equipment. The social worker is responsible for ordering that for the patient. So that could be a walker if needed. The social worker is also completing assessments. Depending on how long the patient is in the hospital, the social worker is assessing their cognitive function, and they are also planning for discharge from the day the patient gets there. So you complete these assessments. We call them MDS, an MDS assessment, minimum data set, which is one of the ways that the hospital gets paid. Also nursing home. So the MDS is a huge deal. And so the social worker is responsible for completing those assessments during the time a patient is there. And, the assessments are required at certain intervals. So there's the 5-day, there's a 14-day, there's a 30-day. So you're just constantly maybe I should say consistently, doing and completing the MDS assessments on the patients or residents, just to make sure that there hasn't been some type of decline, cognitive decline, in their thinking, their memory, making sure that there haven't been any type of behavioral changes. It's all done with the idea that if you're assessing these individuals, you will be able to catch any type of change they may have, and then you can offer additional care, additional assistance or resources for that individual. So, as I've already described, social workers bear a huge responsibility within a hospital setting to include helping patients and family members complete advanced directives. And also, they are a huge source of emotional support for the patient and the patient's family. So, when we come back from the commercial break, I'm going to share with you guys one of the memories that I have from my time working as a hospital social worker in assisting a patient and family complete advanced directives. See you guys after the commercial break. If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. First, it's free. Second, there's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. That's pretty awesome. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many other forums. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership, and it's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. So download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. So one of the memories that really stands out to me during my time working in a hospital setting, which obviously you're dealing with people who are sick and who are dying and family members who have provided care for them or perhaps were surprised by a sudden illness. So as a social worker and really as a medical professional, you really have to um, be sensitive to the moment. Um, and each situation is different. And I remember meeting a gentleman, and he was about to have heart surgery, open heart surgery. And he was there with his wife and his daughter. I believe it was his only daughter. And I was there to help complete a medical power of attorney and also a do not resuscitate. And I remember he actually was very fearful that he was not going to survive the procedure. And of course, his family was reassuring to him that everything would be okay. And I believe he was scheduled to have the procedure the following morning. And when I got to work the next day, the following morning, I remember asking the staff about him because he was not in his room. I just assumed, he had been moved to another location. And they told me that he, in fact, did not survive the procedure, that he had died on the table. On the operating table. So, that just really stands out in my mind because I remember he was so fearful that he was not going to make it through that surgery. And I was just so heartbroken. And, the family's gone, you're not there when it happened. And so you just really wish you could have been there to comfort them because, that was a very difficult time. So yes, I that's just a moment that stands out. And of course, there's so many things that happen when you're in a hospital, but that just stands out because I just remember how kind-hearted he was, and just talking to him, but also how nervous he was. So that was hard. It's the medical staff, the social workers, the nurses, doctors, dealing with people who are at their weakest. It's just a lot. It is a lot. And, that definitely plays a part in why so many social workers get burned out, and just medical professionals in general either have some sort of issue and a substance abuse issue, or they burn out from the trauma of dealing with life and death situations every day, or you have to be able to channel those emotions in a more healthy way. So yeah, that's one of the things that sticks out during my time working as a hospital social worker. Okay, everyone, there you have it. So, as you see, hospital social workers play a vital role within the facility. They do everything from helping to plan discharge from the moment the patient is admitted. They are during the patient's stay, they're completing cognitive and behavioral assessments. If needed, they are assisting with do not resuscitate orders, helping families complete medical power of attorney paperwork or living will paperwork, etc. They are providing emotional support for patients and their families during the stay, setting up services such as follow-up medical appointments and making home health and hospice referrals, getting medical equipment and supplies established when the patient returns home. We are a vital resource. If you have any questions based on today's episode, please leave a voice message on Anchor or email me your question or comment to only1vlo2@gmail.com. Again, that's only1vlo2@gmail.com. If you enjoy listening to my podcast and you find it helpful, I would love to hear from you. So shoot me an email or leave a message for me, please. Also, you can show your support by donating weekly or monthly via the link that is provided for you. Or if you would like to give directly, you may do so via my Cash App, which is Elevated Faith, or my PayPal, which is Elevated Faith VO. Again, Cash App is Elevated Faith. PayPal is Elevated Faith VO. Now, don't forget to join me on my next podcast where I discuss social workers and their role in a nursing home setting or long-term care. If you have a loved one, a family member who needs nursing home placement, whether it's short-term or long-term, you're not going to want to miss the next episode, because I think you're going to find a lot of information very helpful. So again, thanks for listening, you guys. And until next time, be well.